I was just sucking at life, you could say. Like my dad was like super disappointed in me, all that stuff.
What's kind of bringing people in? What are you promising on the front end?
This is probably the first time publicly I'm talking about it.
Okay.
This is something I've done for my top tier clients for the last like 4 years.
I actually lost about $250,000 building my first one. It's kind of the same thing as you.
The biggest thing that pisses me off is clients not getting results. And if you can't get results for your clients, like you shouldn't really be in business.
All right, Dylan, thanks for being here. Best interview I've ever had. For anyone watching, Dylan actually asked the best questions I think I've ever had on a podcast. So shout out to you. I know
Dude, that's amazing. Amazing compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, you put a lot of work into it. For anyone who's watching, I just want to start with what your company does. And then after that, we're going to go into all the business aspects. But talk a little bit about what your company does, and then we'll go into actual strategies.
Yeah. So, dude, I feel like, so I run multiple companies, and I never wanted to be that guy because I'm like, if you have multiple stuff, you never do. But it's like, then like, I think as you have more success, like more brands happen. Yeah. But everything I do is in the marketing world. So, you know, I have a company called Agency Box. We work with.
And that's the main one, right?
It has been, but it's now, I have a company that's kind of outgrowing it now.
Nice.
Yeah. So that we have worked with agency owners for like last 4 years, giving them tools and resources through a software, and then coaching and consulting to help them scale.
Nice.
My other company is called Mindful Agency. It's a PR firm. So we do press and media for people. And then the third company is called ROAS. Obviously, you know, ROAS stands for return on ad spend. So we have like all the assets like at ROAS on IG and Twitter, and like ROAS.io and .ai and .co, all that stuff. Wow. I couldn't get the .com. I will eventually.
What's that one do? Like specifically, I know.
So dude, what ROAS does, and dude, this is probably the first time publicly I'm talking about it.
Okay.
We've been building it for like the last 6 months. So we have two things. We help people like it's like a rev share performance based scaling offers. And this is something I've done for my top tier clients for the last like 4 years. But the first time like we offer it to people where we will help you scale your offer, and
almost like equity. Are you taking equity?
Yeah, rev share.
Nice.
Yeah, rev share.
Nice.
We did a live event this week here in Miami. Nice. Called the Scale Your Offer live event, and we just brought people in, teach them how to scale their offer.
Love it.
And then we have a software that people plug into that they put all their data, and basically we can find the out point of their offer based on the software. So they plug their data in, we can see, okay, we need to tweak this or tweak that.
Okay, so with Agency Box, let's start with that one.
Sorry, I gave you so much.
No, I love it, and everyone else is gonna love it too. So with Agency Box, obviously you're doing consulting on the back end. What's the front end offer? What's kind of bringing people in? What are you promising on the front end?
So there's two audiences. There's like the biz op audience, right? Which is people who want to like have a side hustle or create income. And so they come in, we have like, you know, lead magnets on the front end, you know, the social media money program, the $10 program, like self-liquidating offer. And then we have software. So Agency Box, I created the software for agency owners to manage their business. So like people use high level use.
GHL.
Yep. So a lot of people use it, and hence the reason why it's harder to get 2 Comic Club awards now, because high level really needs their own.
They gotta do something.
Comic Club, yeah. But you already have enough, I think. So yeah. Anyways, high level is amazing, but it doesn't give you the tools to like really run an agency. Like, so Agency Box is a software. People come in, it's like super low ticket, like $30 a month. But then we can ascend them to our coaching. And so Russell Brunson has the, what's his new, Linchpin?
Yeah.
Is his new book. The same model, right? He used ClickFunnels for the last, decade to bring people in. And then he has, like a lot of people don't even know, he has
back end.
Crap load of back end. He has 6-figure coaching program on the back end.
Of course.
So that's the model, it's Linchpin.
And then is it white labeled, or do you actually build the software yourself? And then what does the software do? Is it CRM, or what does it specifically do?
Yeah, it's like so yes, I built it myself. Dude, I hired this is the craziest story. Dude, I hired an agency to build it for me. I paid them a fortune. I got so burned. They gave me like they came to my office for like the launch day after after 3 months of building.
Wow.
And they're like, the drum roll please, and they show me the product, and it's freaking broken, like nothing works. I'm like, dude, what the heck are you guys doing for the last? So I had to hire my own dev team to fix it. And because they were like, you got to pay us more. I'm like, you guys suck. Like, I can literally like that's something I literally take him to court for, but it's not, it's not worth it. And so I had to hire my own dev team. Well, dude, biggest blessing in disguise, because now I have a dev team of like the most amazing guys, and we use AI and like templated code to make to add new features super fast. So the software does three things. One, it is like a project management platform. So you can
CRM.
Yeah, CRM, but you can also give clients like a link so they can track the order. So as an agency owner, it's like, here's the client's link. They can see campaign started, campaign, in progress, campaign done with notes. So it's kind of like a way for them. The biggest thing in the agency world is communication. Mm-hmm. Like if they don't hear from you, they think that you're not doing anything, which is never the case, but that's something. Second thing it does is we have lead gen tools. So I actually went and partnered with a bunch of data companies to buy, to basically buy their data at wholesale rates, then provide it to our agency owners. So we take a whole bunch of data, from lead gen companies and companies that have major lists. Experian, for example, Experian, mm-hmm. the credit card company, mm-hmm. they have a list where they have everyone's data on their income and all this stuff. So you can actually go to Experian and buy data from them. So we went and partnered with a whole bunch of data companies, aggregate the data, and then we have it enhanced where we basically give people here's, that you want not a million, you want 10,000 dentists, here's 10,000 dentists. And so agency owners buy data from us.
Wow.
And then the third thing it does is white label fulfillment, which is actually how it started. This was the first thing I created, was instead of agency owners having to do their own fulfillment, they use our fulfillment software. We do the fulfillment for them.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that was how I started, because I wanted to sell a course, but I didn't want to sell a course. So I was like, why don't I make this software and then give the course for free?
Wow.
That was how it started, and now that's the software.
And so do you get when you say agency owners, only people who are running, let's say, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, IG ads for different companies, or do you get also different types of clients?
So people that use Agency Box are 50% biz op, people that want to start a business because it's so low barrier to entry with mm-hmm. what we offer. Mm-hmm. And then the other half are people who run an agency and they're trying to make it easier.
Interesting.
Yeah. And some clients come through that are like, hey, look, I can buy white label services. I can buy Facebook ads for half the cost of an agency charging it, and they come to us.
Yeah. On the fulfillment portion, obviously, for white label, anyone who doesn't know what that means. An example, maybe go high level. Obviously, you come in and you can resell the service. So for yours, when you say that it's white labeled, do you actually do the fulfillment for their clients? So your team is running the ads for their clients?
Dude, your question is loaded because you know how hard that is. So
exactly. So I'm sitting here going, is he actually saying what I think he's saying?
So dude, I'll give you the answer to that. Before I do though, best example of white label is Trader Joe's. Okay. Trader Joe's has in the U.S., it's the main, or not the main, it's a massive grocery store chain here though. You guys have them here in Miami?
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Of course.
So every single product there, 95% of the products, are not made by Trader Joe's, but they put their logo on it and sell it as if it's Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's peanuts, Trader Joe's smoothies. But the smoothies are Naked, the brand Naked. The peanuts are the big peanut brand. People don't know that. So this is the same thing with this, is when you're white labeling, you're taking something that someone else manufactures and you're selling it yourself under your brand. So in an agency's case, they go to a client, they have Facebook ad, it's going to cost you $2,000 a month plus ad spend. And then we do the work, but their client jumps on, we put on their t-shirt and not actually.
Oh, okay. I was like, wow, you guys are real.
Dude, I did find a white label company.
My eyes just literally, for anyone watching, my eyes actually went out of my head for a second.
I found a white label Google ads company that does that. Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, dude, you ship us your shirt, we'll wear it. Dude, yeah.
Wow.
But we literally do. So when I first got started, bro, I was doing them. I had all these clients buying ads, and I was the one doing it. And then I built a team, and dude, now we have probably, I'd say 40-50% of our services are done in house, and then 40-50% are done through partners, other people that do it, on a per project basis.
So how did you do that? Because one of the biggest issues I usually see with media buyers or SMMA is when it's all the same offer, it's super easy because they're just replicating all the ads, et cetera. So when you're getting all these different clients, do you actually have your team running all the different types of offers? And do you have some media buyers who only do this and some media buyers who only do that?
Dude, that is the hardest part. The thing is, we ran ads. Dude, I ran ads for a guy that was, do you know what Traffic Junkie is?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Traffic Junkie is the advertising platform behind the corn sites.
Right.
Yeah. So that being said,
I like how he said corn, by the way.
Yeah, corn. Yeah.
Not actual corn. So.
Yeah, not corn. Yeah. Where corn, you'd see corn stars. Yeah. So that being said, he had a like when people are addicted to watching that kind of content, he had a coaching offer for that. We literally ran ads on Traffic Junkie for him. That was an offer that came through.
Oh my god.
So we ran everything from that to like shipping brokers. We've ran ads for so many industries by now. We have like data for them, so we can do it. I think you'll always be better off going to, like, the truth is, like, dude, you're always gonna be better off going to someone that specializes in a specific niche because they have so much data.
Of course.
One of my really good friends, he does automotive, like he only sells to car dealerships. He crushes car dealership ads. He's the freaking car dealership guy. Yeah. But if you don't know that guy or can't go to him, like, what's the next best fit? It's someone like us who has a lot of data.
Yeah. When the media buyers are running the traffic, are they also doing the fulfillment calls? They're setting up the funnels, or obviously as you grew, I'm sure you had a bunch of templates that you made, but are they doing A to Z, or they come in, here's all our stuff, you just run the ads?
Dude, I love these questions because you understand so much.
It's so complex.
I've never had anyone ask these questions.
It's so complex. And if you're pulling it off, that's why my head is going a little... out here, but it's cool. That's why I like asking.
It's very hard to do. I'll say that. So yeah, we've gone through different. Here's the ideal thing. We have US based project managers that speak to the client and the agency owner, and typically our structure is, hey, agency owner, we'll speak with you, but you got to handle the client relationship because we don't know what you told them. We don't know any of that stuff. Occasionally, agency owners will like put the client in the Slack channel. But it's very hard to do. So we'll jump on, every time there's a campaign done, we jump on a 15-minute quick connect call with our project manager, the media buyer, and then the agency owner, and sometimes the client. And we just say, here's what's up, here's what's happening. And then we don't talk to them for the month, or other than Slack.
Right.
So all communication is done by text-based. So it's typically just the media buyer that will do it, which media buyers can be anywhere in the world and much lower cost.
Do you ever have an issue with the actual communication on the media buyer? Because some are really good at the actual pushing on the buttons, and some are terrible at communication.
Yeah, always, bro. The hardest thing is like with a sales rep, dude. You're like the sales god. The sales reps should not be doing project management because their production will go down. So same thing with media buyers. They should not be doing project management because their production goes down. As soon as the client gets in, they're going to start complaining about this and that, or like change that, or rebuild the whole campaign. We try to separate it, but sometimes it's like that's too many people and it just becomes too much infrastructure. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely a problem, a thing we struggle with is communication, and I haven't solved that problem yet.
Yeah, I mean, so on our side, I've done two where we have a lot of coaching clients. And so the hard part with coaching clients is their offers are all a little different, or they think it's different, right? So, I'm a fitness coach, but help them this way. And so what ends up happening that we found is you have one of two ways is you can either have someone who does all the comms and then the media buyer does his own thing, or you have a media buyer do both. Ironically, right now, our agency is one of my smaller businesses. We don't go too crazy with it, but ironically, what, to your point is we actually find
a small business doing tons and tons and tons of revenue.
It's relative. It's relative, but I say it does over 100,000 a month.
As you can tell from the background, it's probably doing okay.
Yeah. So, but what we found is actually with the coaching, at least, we've had to find higher level media buyers that can understand the conversation and have that communication, because with high ticket VSLs, there's a lot more back and forth versus if it's a SMMA for, let's say, real estate, they're just running the same funnels and the same things. And so that's been interesting. So you got that first business. The second business, remind me what the second is.
So Mindful Agency. PR firm.
Talk more about, yeah. So with the PR, we all know what PR is. How did you get started in that? And then how do you go about maybe getting the PR? I don't know if you can say, tell all your secrets, but I'm curious on how did you get into PR?
I'll share everything because most people won't take action on it. So they still hire,
100%. So how did you get in PR, and then how do you go about getting PR for your clients?
Did I ever tell you what my first business was? Like the squirrels?
No, or if you did, I forgot.
I don't know. You would remember if I told you. My first business, I sold this animal called a sugar glider.
Okay.
They're effectively flying, like real live flying squirrels. Yeah. So I sold that for 4 years. I sold like millions of dollars in sales. Yeah. Like not tens of millions.
These are per pet squirrels?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
it's like Russell Brunson's potato gun.
Oh yeah. Actually, yeah. Great analogy. So they're like this big. They fit in your pocket. And so people they're great pets for people who don't want like a dog or a cat, and they live like a decade. So, and they can be very affectionate and lovable. So I traveled the country in a broken down like old ambulance that you had to start with a screwdriver, staying in Motel 6s, setting up shop at like state fairs and stuff, and like home shows, pet shows, selling them. And I was like, dude, I was like in whatever year I started, dude, the only thing after when these events would close that would be open would be Denny's. So I'd always end up at a Denny's like late at night. And I made like 70 grand in like a 3-day period of time selling these. And I'm like sitting, because I dressed up like Crocodile Dundee. Mm-hmm. That was like the whole shtick. And I'm wearing cargo pants. I've got like $40,000 in cash in my pockets, like overflowing out of my big pockets. Because we'd put like 6 of them in the cargo pants. That's why we'd wear them. And then we'd pull them out and it'd be a whole show. And I'm like, dude, I'm like sitting in Denny's. I'm like looking around. I'm like, got 60 grand or like 40 grand in cash. I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Like, this is not the life for me. So I was like, I got to figure something else out. I always loved marketing. And so I started a marketing agency like literally like a month later. And I dropped the entire business. I probably could have sold it or something. I'm just like, I got to get out. So I went in and started a marketing agency, helping my clients. And I did real estate agents. I sold to real estate agents. And dude, I did that for like a year or two, made some money, and I started to notice people wanted to buy clout. They wanted to be famous. And I was like, well, what's better than selling a real estate agent a $2,000 a month advertising package is selling some person who wants to be famous a $50,000 fame package. So we started doing that, and I started to build the relationships with like PR, with like contributors for publications and people that own podcasts and even like TV stations and stuff. And then putting these packages together where people could pay 10, 20, 30 grand to be like, to go from a nobody online to being someone who's, big following, all this press, all that stuff.
What would you say when you're reaching out? Because something I always find interesting, maybe it's good for people to hear. To get into PR, you just started essentially doing it. You just started reaching out to people, building a relationship. There was no roadmap per se. You just, hey, I'm going to do PR, and I started figuring it out. Is that accurate to say?
Yeah, I think that the best answer to the question is, how can someone get their own PR done? Because it's something that people really want. And if you could, basically, here's how we do it, is we find an angle in your story, and then we find a special day of the year to pitch people on featuring you. So let's say you're like a Muslim woman. Obviously a great example because you totally look like one, but
perfect.
It's like National Muslim Women's Day or something like that. We'll go and pitch, like, dude, we'll pitch Forbes, we'll pitch all these places. Hey, one of our clients, XYZ, here's why she's amazing. It's National Muslim Women's Day. We'd love for you to write an article featuring her on it. And we find these little sub niches and sub verticals, and then we pitch them, and we get what you call earned media. We also do paid media where we just like grease someone's pocket and they write the article. It's not as exciting. But that's how we get PR.
And then do most of these people, are they paying on ongoing packages? Is it a one-time deal? What do you do to try to keep it going? And I guess another question is, do you have ways to try to turn that PR into sales? Because as you know, I mean, we're both in the industry. One of the hardest things is we can get people leads or traffic, but them turn in. Do you do anything around that, or is it strictly the PR side?
So I do that in my third company, ROAS. We will help with that. But really the idea of PR is it's like the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? It's like right now, I'll give you an example. Like one of our clients, he actually lives in Miami here. A client from years ago is he was like going and selling his company for like a fortune, and like he's a rock star in real life, but no one knew of him in like the digital world. So we just helped grow that presence, get him featured in the media, made a few introductions like off contract, just like relationship stuff. Here, you guys should connect, and now he's crushing it. I'm not gonna say who it is, but the thing is when you get that like authority and you build that like authority, all of a sudden it's like doors of opportunity open for you, and it's up to you if you're going to capitalize on it.
So something that I do want to ask you is, over the years I've done a lot of shout outs, and at one time, I'd say a couple of years ago, tons of money was coming in from that, and I think the biggest reason was just the cost per lead. What I say, followers a lead, was so much lower than Facebook. They're not as effective now. I'll let you weigh in, but they don't seem as effective now. So what's your take on doing shout outs where, in my opinion, on my audience, it feels like it's really hurt my reach. It feels as if maybe I got fake accounts in there and bots, and then when I push out content without the shout outs, it doesn't go far. I'm curious on what your take is on that since you've done PR. Is there any truth to that? Is that off base?
Dude, I think that there's like, I feel that sometimes, I hear that from people, and then I'll see someone who like the exact strategies used on go like insanely viral. I saw a Mr. Beast video. Obviously, you know who Mr. Beast is. Talking about with Colin and I think it's Colin and Samir is the name of the podcast. The guys that do it, and he's talking about the reason why you're not viral. Trust me, it's not the algorithm. Your content sucks. And this is what Mr. Beast was saying. And it was like, oh my gosh, you got to have like a hard reality check with yourself and realize that you're probably the reason your stuff's not going viral. And I like looked in the mirror and I think there's some truth to the fact of like, look, if you have all bots, like the algorithm's probably like, okay, this doesn't work. So yes, if you had fake accounts, fake bots flood your account, it probably did affect you in some way. However, it probably benefited you from the authority boosting aspect where people are like, oh, wow, this guy has 100,000 followers. Sure. And I think it depends on your strategy and the goals you want.
Sure. So long story short, if it's not working, I suck at content. I need to get better.
Maybe.
No, it's good. And I like hearing that perspective because Sean Kelly, for example, I think you were just on his pod. I was on his. I asked him, he has a massive audience on Instagram, gives a pretty good clip. But I asked him, I said, hey, you've done, shout outs. He said he doesn't giveaways, all that. And he said something similar. He said, look, end of the day, it's going to be the content. So I think it comes down to what's going to be on brand that also is maybe controversial. I don't know if you agree with that, but it seems almost always controversial content will work, but it just needs to also try to be on brand, which can be tricky, I guess, maybe if you're more business related or like Patrick Bet David, I would say, or even Hermosi, I would say he's very much stays on brand versus just doing something that's clickbaity.
Dude, I'll tell you, there's like Sean Kelly. So my most viewed video of the video podcast that I did with him was talking about modafinil. Do you know what modafinil is?
No.
Dude, do you know what modafinil is? Oh my gosh, it's like the limitless drug. You know
right. You're talking about so it's like the movie Limitless.
Dude,
is that a real thing?
It is as close to the real life limitless pill as you will get. Dude,
do you take it? He's like, it's like this is why he's always ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you take one of those, you chug a coffee, you will be like laser focused all day. You ever done Adderall?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, it's like that, but without like the meth.
But do you feel that your learning capability goes faster? Because my story with Adderall is I was working a lot in school, and I thought the Adderall would magically make me smarter, but it's really just focus. But I was already so focused, I took too much, and I think I got high during the test. This was years ago. So is it more just focus, or does it actually? You think you learn better or you move better? So
Dave Asprey, founder of Bulletproof,
of course,
he made
very into biohacking.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he made a post a couple years back saying that if it were not for modafinil, Bulletproof would not exist. Yeah, and he basically said, he gave notes on it. This is how much you should take. This is how much I took. This is how long I took it for. X, Y, Z. I don't know whether or not he does now, but I think if someone is lazy, not doing anything, has no structure, maybe it'd be beneficial for you to take a little boost.
What's the studies on that, if any? Is there any studies on it?
A whole bunch of bro science.
Yeah.
Bro science of this and that. The truth is I'm not a modafinil expert. So that's what I'm going to say is bro science too.
Yeah.
But they it was originally created.
Are they studying it at all, or is it just kind of up in the air right now? Is it like NAD plus where it's very it worked in mice, but we don't know in humans, but we're still taking it because.
It was created for fighter pilots originally to stay alert.
Oh, really?
That was the reason for it.
Oh, really?
And then people with narcolepsy who fall asleep randomly during the day started taking it.
So it's synthetic, correct?
Yeah, it's synthetic. Yeah. So obviously, look, probably not the best thing, and I would love to not take it long term. And I think biohacking and all that stuff, they don't take it every day, but it's definitely a boost. Dude, if you have 2 or 3 espresso in a day, it's like probably not the best thing for you.
Yeah.
But hey, today you needed that boost. So going back to Sean Kelly on that, and we can limitless drug is, dude, it's an interesting one. So, but going back to Sean Kelly, that was my most viewed video. A little bit of controversy, and maybe this clip will work, for your show too, whatever. But there's 3 other clips I've seen on Sean's page do really well. One of them is Grant Cardone saying, he said this. Which was interesting because he shot it at my studio and I was sitting there while Grant saying this, and I was laughing when he said it. He said, "Why is there no straight Pride Month? And he goes on to say, I want a women's Pride Month. I want a men's Pride Month." He just went on to, explain on that. And he's like, I want every Pride Month, right? And that was one. Okay. Second one was a guy drinking urine.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah.
And then the third one was just recently was a guy who did the flat Earth.
Oh, the flat Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he really believes it.
He really believes it. Yeah, he does.
What's the reasoning behind that?
I think that, look, I'm very open to things, and so I give everything a shot. And I gave the flat earth theory a real shot. I did. I seriously did. I'm like, look, if this many people think this, there's got to be something to it. Let me look into it. And I did. I don't believe it, but like I'm open to it. Convince me why, right? I'm not going to shut it down. Here's the theory. They think that there's like the elite control of the world, and that outside of the main Earth that we know, Antarctica, the North Pole, there's actually this ring of ice around the world where the elites have built these sacred, secret camps behind them, where like when the world ends, they're all going to go there, the next ice age or whatever. And they say that, there's different things like we never went to the moon. Well, the moon landing might have actually been staged. So like there's some people who I respect that think that, but they see like, oh, these discrepancies. And they're like, well, if they're lying about that, would they not be lying about possibly the Earth?
Yeah.
So I think that's the basis of the theory.
I mean, so are they essentially saying that the pictures they take from space are not real? Is it more along those lines? Because I guess I don't understand. If I see those pictures, they must be saying they're fake.
Yeah, that's the thing is like the photos look, I mean, they find discrepancies in them. And then they find like, oh, look, in the 60s, the photo looked like this. Now it looks like this. I have a lot of respect and trust for Elon Musk. And, he's exposing a lot of stuff and talking about a lot of interesting things. And so I'm like, dude, I'm pretty sure if there was, he's sending cars up there. I don't know. I'm going to believe what Elon Musk says, at least for a little while. Maybe not everything, but I think he's onto something, and he's definitely, challenging the mainstream way of thought.
Let's take it back real quick to the dev team. The biggest issue, most people that don't know, SaaS is
We've
amazing.
been on like a 10-minute tangent of weird things.
Yeah, we're going to bring it back. We're bringing it back. But for SaaS, the hardest thing, and I've experienced, I'm going through right now, I actually lost about $250,000 building my first one. It was kind of the same thing as you. What did you do to find good developers? And what have you done to mitigate the risk of, I don't know what's going on, they could be completely saying this, but this is actually happening? What have you done in that realm? Dude,
amazing. Dude, I love your questions. Like this is one of my.
Yeah, I gotta bring it back.
So with that being said, so we have multiple divisions in our company. Division 1 is our hiring recruiting division. And because we have such a big sales organization, and sales is naturally churn and burn. Typically, we run our team, we work them. We had to get good at hiring. So for me, I just submitted a request to Division 1. Hey, I need this. And like all of a sudden the next week I have 3 people on my calendar that I'm interviewing, and we hire in pairs. We do trial runs in pairs. And then for the first week, and then the next week I choose the winner. So I had to hire what's called a project owner, project manager to fix it. So he came in, he worked with the terrible agency for like 2 months to kind of like, hey, let me look through everything and figure out what's working. Then I hired a lead technical developer who came in, and he was like his right-hand man to work on the project. And then we started to get a couple people around them. I think I hired like 2 or 3 developers around them. And what's super fascinating though is now that's actually turned into a whole business. I had one of my clients like, hey dude, you built that? It's sick. Like, can you build me a SaaS? And so now I've launched this like 4 or 6 months ago, dude. I built like 7 apps now for clients because I created a way to actually like, I got screwed over, so I know what not to do. And so now I'm helping like my friends build apps. I haven't promoted it at all. And like, instead of charging 100 G's, like starting, we're charging $25K for an MVP, which like, you building an app, it's unheard of.
I would do that 100% over what I did. I spent about $250,000. And the hard part is, I think in the beginning, maybe you can attest to this, sometimes you ask for something that's too big. So someone might see go high level and go, build me go high level. It's like, that's not how it works. Or number 2 is that the developer is saying things are going well, and they're telling you, and you're like, you have no idea what they're saying because they're speaking technical jargon. That's at least my experience. Was yours somewhat similar to that?
Yeah. So your second part of that question, I guess, was how do you know that they're telling me the truth?
Yeah.
Right. Show me and show me the product and show me it working and demo it before it's ready. Like before it's done. Like you should show me the feature working. And if you don't have the design, the UI of it done yet, show me like the dirty version functioning. Like if it's a dialer, give me a call so I know it's working. I guess you just gotta, just like you would drill with your sales reps, like, hey, show me the script, show me you know it. It's the same thing. And then if you're building an app, you should always have your own GitHub account where the code lives rather than them hosting it on their platform. All the software is needed. Make sure you sign up for them. You own them. You're paying the monthly subscription because all that stuff lives there. Let's say, homie gets hit by a bus, like, you're screwed. So make sure you have access to everything.
In your third company, ROAS, you're taking on equity or rev share for different companies. What is your determination on how to decide which companies to say yes to and which to say no to? Because I'm sure you've realized that some companies that you take on are not the best fit for rev share. So how do you decide which ones to take on?
It kind of happened by accident. Like I had one client who had like 1.2 million like real followers come, and we built out a rev share program with him. Dude, we scaled to like 6 figures in the first month, or 6 figures of recurring revenue monthly. Wow. Yeah, community subscription revenue. Now he's crushing. Like it's insane. This is like 2 years ago. Within 2 years, going from that to like selling out arenas now of like, wow. So it's amazing. So that happened by accident, and we kind of figured out like what works, what doesn't work. And now what we do is if someone has an organic following that's decent, we'll, hundreds of thousands, we'll do it like no brainer. Like we'll run a few tests and check. Depending on the audience, right? If it's millions of followers, but you're a TikToker and you blew up because you got lucky in 2021, that's not a fit. But if you're, someone with a real following, like we'll do it. But then the other way is what we'll actually do with people who don't have as big a following is we'll do like a date then marry model where, hey, you just pay us like a super small agency retainer. We'll work with you for like 90 days and we'll see if like, hey, can we get results? And if we can get results and we're happy with it, we'll talk about what it would look like to do a rev share, put my whole team on it and scale it up. Yeah.
So what I took from that was the biggest thing you're looking for is, do they have organic traffic to make it easier to scale? Would you agree with that? And we were talking about that earlier privately, is that anyone who has a big audience that is not tapping into that, it just makes it more profitable because they're not having to run so much ads. So how long have you been in business now? 6 years, 7 years?
I mean, I started selling flying squirrels when I was 19.
That is actually hilarious that you've been doing that. What would you say?
I've been in like internet business for like 7 years.
Yeah, wow, about as long as me. What have been maybe your biggest takeaways of things you've learned, and then maybe some of your biggest mistakes that people could learn from?
Yeah. So if I were to go back and start over from scratch, I would start super lean. Like, me and like one VA or like me, like one VA and like a sales rep. I probably would either do that or go work for someone like, dude, you or me, and just take out the trash and learn everything. I had to learn everything myself, and I am not really a buyer. I didn't really invest in a lot of programs, which is probably to my detriment, because I then, rather than investing in, Tanner, your program, for example, like years ago, I would then try to figure it out myself. So it took me a little while, but I think maybe trying to learn from someone else would have been number one. Number two would be, as I'm scaling, the most important thing is like, where are your leads coming from? And like, how do you make it consistent? So if it's organic, it's organic. If it's ads, it's ads. But like, you need to have one super funnel, we call it, like where everything's flowing from. And then you need a really good offer that's easy to fulfill. Because the biggest thing that pisses me off is clients not getting results. And if you can't get results for your clients, like you shouldn't really be in business. And so for me, it's like, if your offer is like all this hard, complex stuff, it reduces the likelihood clients are going to get results. And then it reduces the likelihood someone's going to be upset, and on and on and on. So if I could have a product that took me 1 hour to fulfill and I could sell for 10K, I would all day long. So for me, like, what's the easy thing to fulfill? I think those 3 things.
Yeah. And I mean, to your point, when I've had all these conversations with billionaires, almost always the number one thing I've seen is easy to low fulfillment. That's one of them. The second thing is they almost always have an internet marketing background. And then the third one is it's almost always high ticket if it's obviously not VC capital, right? So it's self-funded. I've seen that 100 times because, to your point, I think even most people we know, when the businesses scale, I almost always see it's easy to know fulfillment.
Yeah.
Right. And we've mastered the hard fulfillment. We've mastered an industry where people have low skill, they don't know a lot of things, and we're still making it work. And so when you go in an offer that's actually easy to fulfill, I think that's when things can really blow up. What's your goal? Because you're still a super young guy. You've had a lot of success. You've had 3 different businesses.
How old are you?
I'm 32.
32. I'm 29.
I'm 32. So just turned 32 is what I like to say. I know, 30. It's crazy though. I start to actually think I'm starting to get old. It's sad, but you've had 3 businesses, multiple 8 figures, big team, super smart guy. You can tell just by the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, super well spoken, I would say, especially from our interview. What's your ultimate vision? Are you still just riding the businesses right now, see where it ends up? Do you have, hey, this is a stepping stone to something else? Where are you trying to go?
Here's my dream. I want to own a sick piece of land on a lake. have like ATVs, like jet skis, all this stuff. I want to build a couple nice places, and I want to host retreats there. And
what kind of retreats?
Primarily like personal development, but also like business masterminds, and just bring people together. I love hosting. Like I always like having parties at my place and stuff. So it's like, for me, it's like, I want to host people and create life-changing breakthroughs for people where they go into something else. So for me, like I want to have a couple exits, like, stack some cash and then just go do, like, that's the mission thing that I would love to do.
What's the reasoning behind that? What makes you say at 29, most people would say you're on top of the world, you're doing really good, you have a lot of money, you have a lot of options, you're in Vegas. What makes you say something to that effect that all you want to do is have people over and, I guess personal development?
When I was 16, I went to a leadership program. I was selling pot. I was like, selling like electronics, like all this stuff. I was just like not a dude. I was like not a problem child, but like I was getting like very poor grades, and I could have got good grades. Anyways, I was just sucking at life, you could say. Like my dad was like super disappointed in me, all that stuff. I went from being like all-star soccer player to being like giving all that up, gaining weight, all that. Imagine like the worst teenager from the outside in. Like I was probably like that. I went to this program, and they taught me these things that you need to succeed that's not taught in school: goal setting, time management, public speaking, all this stuff. And that was like literally like, if you look at my life, like the trajectory of like, had I not gone, I probably would have gone down a similar path. But it like pivoted me, it like changed my trajectory. I met like, a guy there I was like, what do you do? He's like, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm like, what the heck is that? Because I come from a family of dentists. My dad's a dentist. His dad was a dentist. I was supposed to obviously be a dentist. I'm not. So for me, I'm like, what the heck's an entrepreneur? Like, that sounds so cool. And he tells me, I'm like, this is amazing. So now I go home with like this motivation. I start reading books because people talked about like Think and Grow Rich. I freaking read Think and Grow Rich when I was 16 from this program, or 17. And it changed my life. And like, if I could have that impact, even on one person, think about like, the trajectory of changing someone. And for me, like, that's super inspiring for me. And I know that little things like that can just change the world, like one person at a time.
Did you have a phase where, as you started accruing cash and money and accolades, watches, etc., did you get to a point where maybe at first that's what you thought you wanted and then it switched? Or have you always been in the same mindset you have right now?
Dude, I have vision boards. This kind of looks like you have a vision board right here.
That's not mine. It's my girl's, but yeah.
Okay, cool.
Similar.
Yeah.
You can tell the ring over there is a. Is it a ring? No pressure, obviously, at all.
I was like, yeah, like that bikini on there. I didn't think you wanted that, but no, I'm just joking. It's not on there.
The love sign and stuff. Bunch of kids,
Is there really a ring on there?
Yeah, bro, right there. The top right.
She puts it right next to you, so you're.
There's no pressure at all.
How long you guys been together?
5 years.
Oh, okay, cool. So it's coming soon. Don't worry. Yeah. So with that being said, like I had my vision board. I had like cars. Like my dream car, like I always wanted, was an Audi R8. And like, dude, the day came, and like, when I could have got one, and I was like, I rented a McLaren for a week to see like, okay, do I like this? And I was like I went golfing, like my golf bag's like in the passenger seat. I'm like getting in, it's like cramped. Dude, I started in my garage. A couple days later, my neighbors were like, hey, can you stop going to the gym at 5 a.m. and revving up that car? Cause it's crazy loud and echoes the whole neighborhood. So like literally like my neighbors, like multiple houses down. And so it's like, okay, I don't need this. I have a car that's just as expensive, if not expensive, and no one would know. It's a Model X Plaid. It's a black Tesla Model X Plaid. It's like probably $140K MSRP car. And I like it. It's a sleeper. So for me, like the materialistic stuff, all that stuff, dude, I just like the money is like, dude, I've had times where I'm like paying employees out of my pocket just because I care about the person so much, and the business couldn't make it happen. Like, that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because it's a game, and it's like the ultimate game. I think, dude, building business is like, it's the ultimate game of real life Monopoly. It's so freaking fun. And I would do it for $0 if I could. And if I had to. And yeah, that's it.
Well, I think you have the right mindset, because as I've gotten older, I think the more you focus on helping others, it truly do it, not just saying it. Because it's easy to say, yeah, help others, whatever. But actually helping others is when you start getting all the things you want. And then by the time you get all the things you want, you realize that's maybe not actually what I wanted in the first place. It's a real weird paradox. For anyone who's watching this, where can they find you? How can they connect?
Instagram's the best. Everything else kind of gets filtered before it gets to me, but I see most of my IG. So at Dylan Vanas, DYLAN, V as in Victor, ANAS on Instagram. And yeah, that's the best.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, man.
Dude, this is awesome. Thanks.
Great.